Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. This is Josh. I'm going to be your presenter today. We're here to talk about accounting under pay bills, quick pay, and view outstanding bills. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in here. So what we're really talking about is when we go into accounting, and we're going to go up to pay bills here in the center, and then right up to quick pay. Okay. While there are several options under quick pay, bills entered today, vendors with the balance, view outstanding bills, we're looking at outstanding bills today. This is a very common support screen that we deal with on support calls all the time. All right. This window, folks, should be checked frequently. All right. If the church is living and working on a cash basis, things are not going to live in this window screen for very long at all, okay? For all intents and purposes, accounting is an accrual or a payable accounting system, okay, but you can treat it like cash. So if you are entering and paying your bills immediately, meaning like within, right after the other, enter bills, then turn around, use quick pay, post and pay these bills, okay? And then you're posting those payments, they're not going to be in this window at all, essentially, for as long as it takes for you to post the payments, okay? Or if you are living and working on an accrual basis, you might see some things sitting in here, but again, they're not going to be forever, all right? As we can clearly see here, we've got some transactions, some bills here from 2012, we've got some from 2021 and 2023, and even some from 2024, okay? These are the ones that we get the questions about, all right? In fact, I've had some as recently as yesterday, even earlier today, of a user going, why am I seeing transactions showing up under outstanding bills here, okay? This window should only ever really reflect and show any vendors that we have entered bills for that we are still intending to pay at some point. We typically don't want to see things in here that are going to be old or anything that we don't want that's going to be unexpected, okay? If there's something in this list that we don't think should be here, we need to go in and find out why it's here and resolve the problem, all right? If you did have a chance to print the document, there's two sections of this document, outstanding bills with zero account balance and then outstanding bills with an account balance, all right? They could be related. Oftentimes they're not, but the most common one we get the questions about is that first topic on outstanding bills with a zero account balance. And by account balance, what I mean is this column right here in the center, right? I'm drawing the circle around it there, all right? The account balance provides information in itself as to what's going on with regards to the vendor account, okay? Folks go, well, how does that compare to the amount due? The amount due in this case on each of these transactions is the amount of each one of the bills that were entered on the respective date occurred to the left, okay? Sometimes the account balance may be the same as the amount due. In many cases, they will not be the same, all right? But the thing to keep in mind about this is really probably the most important thing to know about the account balance is those with zero account balance, we can pretty much guarantee that bill was paid, okay? Otherwise, how did the balance get cleared if the bill wasn't paid? It could have been, but it's unlikely through another transaction. So those are the ones that are most easy to resolve, all right? So I've got one here for Be Sure You're Covered Insurance and Don Brenner, both on January 18th of 24, that both show a zero account balance, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go in and mark those bills as paid per that section there on that first section of their outstanding bills with a zero account balance. So we're going to close out of pay bills. We're going to go up to transactions. We're going to go to browse. I don't need to notate those transactions. I can if I wanted to back at pay bills and under outstanding bills, but I don't need to. The software will find those outstanding bills for me. I go to change year, filter, and sort. Over here to the right, I'm in 24. Those are the year that the bills I'm going to be dealing with. I click clear all to the far right. I put a check mark just in bill. To the far left, I uncheck show paid. I only care about the bills that are not marked as paid. And I click OK. Okay, and there they are. Here are the two bills that were outstanding from 2024 that I simply need to now fix or correct and mark as paid. I highlight one line of it. It doesn't matter which one. They're both the same bill. I click correct. It says the bill has not been marked as paid. Okay, great. Right to the right up here. Let me get my highlighter, folks. Mark as paid right here. All right, that's the button we're going to be clicking on momentarily here. So when I click on mark as paid, it opens up a list of all of the payments that I've posted historically to Be Sure You're Covered insurance. And so I'm going to try to find the one with the date and the amount that paid my bill. So right here, January 18th of 24. Technically, I can pick any of them. It doesn't matter. But I want to try to tie the bill to the payment that paid it. So I click on that. Amount matches. I click OK, and I click Save Corrections. It says your corrections have now been saved. I click OK. Notice it removes that bill from the list because it is now marked as paid. It's no longer an outstanding bill. I do the same thing with Don Brenner. Click one line of it, click correct, click mark as paid. There's the only payment that I have to Don at all historically. I choose it, click OK, and save corrections. Same thing. The list is now clear. Now when I close out and I go back to pay bills, quick pay and view outstanding bills, those two for 2024 are gone. All right? That's how easy it is to deal with those transactions, these outstanding bills where the vendor or account balance is zero. The same is true for the ones in 2021. Okay? I can simply close out. I can't go up to browse while I'm in 24. I actually have to physically change the year back to 2021 to do that. Okay? But folks, I can do this. And here's why I can do this is this is doing nothing to change any account balances in any accounting year. All I'm doing is tying a bill to a payment. That's all I'm doing. So I go back to 21, go back up to transactions, browse, right up to change year, filter, and sort. Clear all, check just bills, uncheck show paid, click OK. There they are. Okay. So I click on one of them and I click the correct button. Mark as paid. Here, let's look at the date. 11/23 of 21, click mark as paid. 11/23, right there's one on 11/24 for that amount. Click OK, save corrections. Right here, Alex's Plumbing, 1500. Click correct. Mark as paid. Scroll down, there it is, 11/30 of 2021. Click on that. OK, it matches the amount. Click OK and save corrections. Okay. Finally, Columbia Gas. Click correct. Mark as paid. This one's December 2nd of 2021. Scroll down. See if I can find one there. There it is for 12/15/2021. OK, and save corrections. Okay. That list is now clear. Now when I go out back into 2024, here we are, quick pay, view outstanding, quick pay, view outstanding bills. Those are gone. Okay. Folks, there's no beginning balances I need to update. I've done nothing to change any account balances. Okay. So now we're looking at some things here for Columbia Gas, right? Now I have got bills that are outstanding that are in no way tied back to the balance of the account, all right? But I'm going to go back in to see if I can mark these as paid in those years because, again, the account balance may have absolutely nothing to do with whether these particular bills were paid. Don't confuse the account balance with the amount due of the bill, okay? So I'm now going to go up here and I'm going to try changing my year back into 2012 and see if I can now mark that bill as paid. And I go down here and I choose OK and I click OK and I go, oh no, 2012 is closed. I cannot go back into 2012 and mark that bill as paid now, okay? So some of you may be asking, all right, well, what do I do if I do that, all right? Well, that's a good question. All right, we're going to come back into 2024 and we're going to talk about that. All right. So easiest answer to this question is it a vendor that I still do business with? All right. If it is, then I'm just going to clear that invoice for 2012 on my next payment to Columbia Gas. So all I would do is go back in, I would enter my bills in July. So right here, if I do show recurring and I choose, say, Church Gas, there's Columbia Gas, click paste. I'm now going to, where is it now? It's down at the bottom down here. It's dated 7/18, all right? And I'm going to click done, add to batch. And after I've entered that, I'm now going to do post and pay these bills because it's a total of $912.46. We're on the budget plan, so we're paying the same amount each month, okay? So I do post and pay these bills, not going to print the bill transaction. So here we are, right? We've got our current bill for the $912.46, but I've got these two other invoices from prior years for them that have absolutely nothing to do with this. So what I can do is I can check both of those invoices as paid, right? Now my amount to pay shows the amount of all of them combined. I just changed that now to the $912.46, which I now, I'm trying to pay them for. And I choose, computer check or EFT or however I'm paying Columbia Gas, and I'm simply posting it. I am using a current payment to clear an invoice from a prior, and in this case, a closed year. Okay? Click post on that. Not going to print it. Now when I go up to Quick Pay and view outstanding bills, not vendors with a balance, I apologize, view outstanding bills, both of those Columbia Gas bills are gone. Okay? But what I've not done is I've not done anything to deal with the actual account balance that's still in Columbia Gas, okay? Now I've got one here for Christian Bible Supplies from 2023. We'll come back to that as one of our final topics here, okay? I've cleared the invoices, right, for Columbia Gas. But now when I go up to Quick Pay and view vendors with a balance, we notice Columbia Gas is still sitting here with $1,070.47 worth of a balance that is likely is from a prior period, and it's nothing to do with current, standing on that account, okay? So what do I do now, right? I want to get back to Columbia Gas back to zero again. Now all I do is I'm going to go up to transactions, other, and journal entry transaction, and in the current period, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to enter today's date because I'm dealing with it in July of 2024. I am changing nothing in the past, folks, okay? I might backdate it to June, but I'm going to date it today. But right here, I'm going to put in comments, clear vendor account balance from prior periods. Here I'm going to choose Columbia Gas. There they are. I'm going to debit that, $1,070.47. Sure, I could go back into a prior year and find out how far back that balance goes, and I can try to figure out why the balance is still remaining there, right? Okay, I can if I want to investigate that, but I'm doing nothing in a prior year. I'm dealing with it all right now. And I'm going to click the plus sign. Now up here, I'm going to choose my general fund. Okay, I am not going to be changing anything, affecting anything on my treasurer's report affecting my income and expense accounts or my bank account. No requirement to do that. I'm simply moving the money from Columbia Gas back down to my general fund to use for something else. So I credit amount for $1,070.47 back to my general fund. And now notice that when I click done, add to batch, the adjusted balance for my Columbia Gas account is now zero. Right here, folks. Let me get my highlighter out. Right here. That's the goal. We're trying to get the adjusted balance for the vendor back to zero again, and with this journal entry, we've now done that. So that's now had the desired effect, and I can now post this journal entry. Okay. The other way I could have handled the bill, folks, so some of you may be going, well, Josh, what do you do if you're not doing business with that vendor anymore? Well, what I would do is I would come into Quick Pay, view outstanding bills, and I would create a dummy payment simply to clear out the invoice and maybe the vendor account balance. And then I would post a journal entry that, because that's going to show up on my bank statement and my bank reconciliation as an outstanding withdrawal. But I would just do a journal entry, post a journal entry that would add the money back in as a deposit, and I would just clear them, make a note on my, for myself to clear those two offsetting deposits and withdrawals on my July bank reconciliation. Money's back in my system. The balance and the invoice is gone. I never have to deal with it again. Okay. So let's look at our final transaction here with just a couple minutes left. Okay. Christian Bible Supplies from June 19th of 2023. So I've got an amount due and account balance. When we go down to our second section on our document here, this has some recommendations, folks. As I said, we're going to probably go a few minutes long here. Has some suggestions or some ideas as to what might explain why the vendor account has a balance. And this one may be a good example of that. So I'm now going to go back into 2023, and I'm going to look at Christian Bible Supplies, and I'm going to look and see if I can figure out what's going on here. Okay. So if I go to Transactions and Browse, go right up here to Change Year, Filter, and Sort, click in my account field, type in Find Christian Bible Supplies, and I'm simply going to click OK. Okay. I'm now looking at all the 2023 bills and payments and transactions posted from my vendor Christian Bible Supplies. And the first thing I typically will do is I'm going to steer my focus right down here, folks, to the very bottom. And right down here, we notice if I look at our debit and credit totals, they are unbalanced. Okay. Those are unbalanced by the exact amount of that $654.32. All right. And so I can clearly see here, it's clearly got more credits, meaning bills, and I've got, it looks like a couple of bills entered in here for $654.32. And if we even further steer our focus further to the right, over here I've got a paid column, and we notice that I've got one right here on June 19th that is not marked as paid. Curious, right? So what do I do about that? I've clearly got a duplicate bill in here, all right? I also have another one up here on June 12th for $654.32. This one's not, so I'm wondering about that. But right here, I could reverse this $655.32 bill, and that'll get this back in balance. But if I do that, I then have to update my beginning balances for 2024, okay? So I would reverse that and then do that. But if you don't want to change the past, folks, that's not going to be the way to deal with that. Now we're back to dealing with it in the manner that I was suggesting before, which if we come back into 24, is go in and post a dummy payment and then just add the money back. So right here under View Outstanding Bills, I would create payments. I would choose my payment method of like cash or EFT, okay? Again, show running balance now shows Christian Bible Supplies back to 0 again the way I'm wanting, but I'm also now putting a $654.32 withdrawal on my bank reconciliation that I'm not going to be seeing on my bank statement, okay? So again, I've got to get that money back in the system, all right? So I'm going to post that with the July 18th date. Okay. So now we're going to go back in and do our journal entry similarly. We're going to put it right here back in as today. We're going to choose our, say, checking account, Huntington Bank checking, debit, $654.32. Click the plus sign, choose my general fund, general operating fund balance, credit amount $654.32. Again, click Done, Add to Batch, and Post. Okay, not putting anything back into the vendor. We know the Columbia Gas or Church Christian Bible Supplies is now 0. Okay, but we are putting the money back in, so we're going to post that. We're not going to print it. Okay. But now on my July bank reconciliation, I have to clear that journal entry deposit and that EFT withdrawal simultaneously cleared, so they offset one another, they don't negatively impact my difference to reconcile, and the money's back in my system and I will never see them again. Now when I go back into pay bills, quick pay, and view outstanding bills, my list is clear. Folks, this is complex stuff. I get it. We get it. There's, church windows, I could handle this in other ways too, but with the amount of time that we had allotted for today's webinar event, we just didn't have a lot of time here to cover all of the possibilities on how to deal with many of these things. So, again, on the document, again, let me just review them really quickly before we wrap things up and take questions, is possible reasons why the balance in the vendor account. There's a posted bill without a payment, okay? Right? So you could have a bill without a payment transaction. Conversely, you could have a payment without a bill. But the vendor balance would be different. There could be a negative versus positive balance. Could have a duplicate bill or a duplicate payment. All right? Well, payment wouldn't show up under view outstanding bills, but could have a duplicate bill or it says payment as well. A posting to a vendor or posted a transaction to a wrong vendor, or we posted something like a journal entry that by mistake that wasn't the correct way to handle the problem, okay? Original bill and payment posted correctly, but one part of the transaction was reversed. We see that all the time. We go in, we go, oh, I don't need this transaction. So they go in and the user reverses the payment transaction and neglects to reverse the subsequent payment, okay? Or you could transfer or transferring balances between or monies between two vendors. There are a myriad or a slew of reasons why this could occur this way. Okay, or a bill was posted and marked as a credit memo by mistake. And this doesn't even cover all of the reasons why. Those are just some of why we might have transactions or outstanding bills still showing up. Okay. Please note at the bottom of page 2 there, before corrections are made, folks, make a backup of your data. Depending on the issue or the problem, if you go in and you're making changes to prior years or something and you don't mean to do something, you could really create problems, and a backup could bail you out with regards to that. So if you're in doubt before doing any of this stuff, go in and make a backup of your data, okay? And if you're still having trouble, again, you don't have to change anything in the past. These types of problems could all be handled in the current period if you absolutely choose to, okay? And certainly, folks, don't close a year when you have anything showing up under view outstanding bills that should not be there, because it really becomes even more difficult when the year is closed. So check that list before considering closing a year or before you close a year, all right? So again, I apologize for having gone a little long, but that is where we are going to leave the topic based on that document for today.